90, then you are a 4. And if it is 80, then you are a 1. Now, if you put this criteria and your system is such that it identifies all the deliverables of that job, all the value additions of the job, and it has quantification, the goal is measurable, and you put this form before the person, okay, please fill it in for you, and he cannot come and he say, I want to rate myself a 5 in sales, although I have only achieved 100. Now, if you can achieve this system, efficiency with the benchmark and all, then you minimize this tallest challenge of reconciling the self-perception versus the reality. Because वो कभी भी अपने आप को शर्म आएगी उसको 100 की sales पे अपने आप को 5 rate करते हुए. He cannot. He cannot sit, put this paper and look into your eyes. And I think that is the most fascinating aspect if you can design. What it requires is, of course, very clarity of goals. What it requires is clarity of the institutional objectives. What it requires is understanding of the key stakeholders' expectation. How does the organization want to achieve that? How does the organization want to move on that direction? And what it requires is an articulation in a form. One of the key things that I have seen, Tariq Saab, is very, very complex, which makes the performance appraisal job very difficult, is the complexity of the form. It is invariably a very, very several pages thing. और आप किसी से भी पूछें कि HR डिपार्टमेंट को लोगों के पीछे भागना पड़ता है, खुदा का वास्ता अप्रेजल करके दो, ये डेडलाइन थी, ये गुजर रही है, ये डेडलाइन थी, ये क्यों नहीं कर रहे. और every morning when I come and I have a performance appraisal reminder, I put it down somewhere कि यार ये मैं कर लूँगा, ठीक है ना, कर लूँगा. Why? 2 reasons. One, the form is complex. Second, the real big reason, how do I sit with Mr. Tariq and tell him that you are not doing such a good job? Such a nice buddy, but I mean, it may be good person, but in terms of results, I can't. And I tell you honestly, even today, after so many years of managing HR, working, etc., most difficult thing for me is to give feedback to a performer, especially if it's a negative feedback. It becomes more difficult. I'm making a diversity statement if it's a lady that you are giving feedback. My advice is keep a tissue box very handy. It has happened, honestly. So the reality is that you have to have that transparency in the system so that the person doing assessment for himself can go back with comfort, not very happy with comfort that, look, this year I haven't done well, so I couldn't have rated myself better than that. Now, this is generically about the performance appraisal system, process, and as I said, Tariq Saab has given a very, very comprehensive. इन्होंने क्या कहते हैं, वो एक मुहावरा है, दरिया को कूजे में बंद कर दिया आपके लिए. ठीक है ना? Now it's for you to go and explore that darya. There's just one other aspect that I want to spend few minutes, and that is the massively changing global environment and its impact on the business and its impact on the human resource and its impact on the topic of performance appraisal. I think today's world, when our generation, all of us, young and middle and old, have never seen something like what's happening today, the global recession. हमारी दुनिया ने पिछले कोई 80-90 साल में ये नहीं देखा है. We've all grown, picked up our learning in a totally different world. जहाँ पे इतना massive recession आया हो, इतनी massive downsizing हो रही हो दुनिया में, और पाकिस्तान में भी consider ourselves lucky कि हमारी consumer financing इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं थी, तो अभी immediate impact नहीं आया है. And some of us started feeling comfortable कि it's not that bad. Believe me, this is a time when the bomb has exploded. Everybody is in a state of shock and awe. What will be in 2010? What will be the world in 2011 is a serious, serious challenge. Risk management, cost management are going to be the key business drivers. The key business driver will be cost management and risk management. The world in the last few months has completely changed the paradigm. हमने पूरे, and I have been very strong proponent of privatization, free enterprise all along, all the 90s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s until 6 months back. कि जी आप free enterprise is the name of the game, you let it free, deregulate it, अच्छा efficient businessman होगा चलेगा, inefficient होगा गिर जाएगा, खुद ही eliminate कर देगा. System will throw him out of the thing. All those paradigms have gone down the drain. Today's world is proving something totally different. Going back into 200 years, जहाँ पे बात हो रही है state regulation is critical, जहाँ पे बात हो रही है deregulation is a nonsense, जहाँ पे बात हो रही है regulatory environment has to be very active. Why? Because you can't say कि जी General Motors आज hostage लेके खड़ा हुआ $85 billion दें, otherwise I'm going to close it. Citibank, all these banking system is asking $700–800 billion, or else we close. And no country can afford to close that level of activity, economic activity. No country can afford to close its financial institutions. कहीं नहीं हुआ ये. We have seen it in Pakistan. Financial sector हमारा worst situation पे चला गया by 90s. Massive losses, massive loan write-backs, massive overstaffing, cost structure. Who paid for all that restructuring? I and you from our taxes. जो हम टैक्स पे करते हैं, billions of dollars जो इंजेक्ट करने पड़े बैंकिंग सेक्टर में पाकिस्तान में, just to make sure कि कोई बैंक पे रन ना हो जाए. And unfortunately, that's a reality जो आज पूरी दुनिया देख रही है. किसी बैंक को वो रन नहीं होने दे सकते, किसी इंडस्ट्री को, लार्ज साइड इंडस्ट्री को फिनिश नहीं होने सकते, आप देख नहीं सकते, बिकॉज इवेंचुअली it means a significant impact on the people, and government cannot stay on the sideline. कि जी inefficient bankers, inefficient players are getting out of the market, so what do? They were inefficient, they can't afford to do that. And this is the realization that is coming into the minds of the people now. So what we're going to see in the coming years, very, very strong regulated world, very, very strong role of government in industry and business management. And how does it impact the human resource management? जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा दो चीजें, cost and risk management is going to be the key. Now cost management में simplest of the classical solutions is go and downsize, reduce your people. And I'm saying that आप लोग HR के managers हैं, this is the biggest challenge that you have. I'm saying that if you can prove it that your that your workforce is productive, or workforce can be mobilized to enhance revenue, to enhance efficiency in the organization, you will create justifications for not downsizing. What does it mean? It means transformation of the people from their current work behavior and culture into a productive behavior and culture. ये massive transformation है, which is the key for survival of lot of employments. और वो कर सकता है अगर कोई, तो वो आप लोग कर सकते हैं human resource. Line management doesn't have that expertise. Line management does not have that expertise. Any organization within the institution who can do it is the human resource organization, and the tool that you have to rely on is the performance management. You may have to think totally differently. How do I bring in the performance factors? How do I bring in those challenges where I can motivate my people, I can energize them, I can engage them, and you enhance the productivity of the organization to prove it to the line management and the shareholders that look, and that's where you have to get into a very creative cost structure. You have to get away from the system of the fixed pay. A massive, आपका variable pay और fixed pay का अभी आप देखें तो शायद 80-20 या 70-30 का structure है अभी, right? Which means के that 80% of your salary is guaranteed, 20% is bonus. You go and come there, instead of downsizing, we are going to a 50-50 cost structure, which means के 50% is the guaranteed pay, which people get, and 50% is variable, which you link it to the performance of the people. Give them what you want from them and tell them that here is your chance to go and earn it. Totally different set of thought process paradigm has to emerge to ensure the endurance, sustainability of our business, and to ensure the sustainability and productivity of your people. We don't have solutions today. I've just blown something out of my mind, but you, ladies and gentlemen, as HR professionals, have a great responsibility on your shoulders, and I would like you to just start thinking out of the box. Take it up as a responsibility. Hold brainstorming session. Get to ICAP. Ask them to run brainstorming session, interactive sessions. Bring up the people who are doing this successfully. Create a database of best practices, the changing things, and don't think what went well or how the system worked in 2007, 2008. See how the system will work in 2009, and even 9 is history to me. Look at what will be the world in 2010 and 2011 and 2012. Start using this lot of intellect that you have been gifted with. Start using your mind, and I'm sure with concerted efforts, with brainstorming, with sitting together, you will come up with new options and solutions for the employers and for the line management. And unless we do it on a war footing, we will be failing in our duty. I once again thank Tariq Saab for a very comprehensive presentation, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing it out at, my God, 8:45. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zafar Usmani. We have to think in an innovative and creative way for managing the performance, not for this year, but way ahead. Now we have a small session for presenting the memento first to our speaker, and I'll request Mr. Zafar Usmani to present this souvenir to our speaker. Now, I would like to request Mr. Mahmood, who is the convener of CPD Committee ICAP, to present a memento to our session chairman, Mr. Zafar Usmani.
Thank you, sir.
And the last item, I'll request Mr. Mahmood to present vote of thanks.
Done? Good on.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank both the speaker and our session chairman. We had a very interactive and very comprehensive discussion on this particular topic. I would also like to thank all the participants, attendances, and for your involvement in the session. I just like to say just one thing that I just picked up from the discussion of Mr. Usmani, that definitely we need a transformation or transition from the working behavior and the mindset to next level, catering with the upcoming challenges. Of course, we have to think out of box. By saying that, when he was saying and he was discussing or sharing his view, which he said was just blew up out of his mind, but I think that should be the order of the day. We should consider the Japanese population and the workforce of Japan, when after losing the World War and being hit by 2 atomic bombs, they just transformed their mentality, their working behavior, and now we see standing as second largest economy. I think that's the very important punchline, and we should all think in those lines. Thanks once again. I'd also like to appreciate the efforts of our consultant, Dr. Shahida, and the dinner is ready at the back side of the institute. Please join us for the dinner. Thank you very much.